What is up, boyos? Hello, welcome to us spoiling Star Wars. Can you believe it? Darth Vader is Anakin Skywalker?
Hold on. Which one? Which one are we spoiling?
Today we are spoiling Episode 3.
Nice.
Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. What are they seeking revenge for? I don't know. Something that's not stated in this movie. They need revenge.
Fantastic.
They need revenge, though. That's it. Star Wars Episode 3, Nick. That's Nick, by the way. What'd you think of Star Wars Episode 3?
Oh, dude. I mean, I don't want to come out and say it, but I'll come out and say it's the best one so far. It's the best one so far. It has the best opening of Star Wars that I can think of at this current moment. Because I literally just finished it. That's why we're starting the show late, because I had no time while I was on vacation. So I watched it. And fantastic, dude. I liked it. There's a couple of things that dialogue-wise, character-wise, that it struggles on. But it does so much better than the other ones that we've watched so far. It's fantastic. It's really good. And just watching it again is kind of one of those things that's like, shit, man. Did George do this one?
George did this one, yeah.
He figured it out on the last one.
I don't know. I agree. I agree with the fact that this is the best one. Yeah, without a doubt, it's the best one. That being said, that's really not saying much, and I still wish this entire trilogy was directed and written by someone other than George, and George was just like executive producer on it.
Right.
Because and
I kind of agree.
But like if Disney came out tomorrow and was like, we're remaking episodes 1, 2, and 3, I'd be like, okay, I'm fine with that.
Could you imagine the uproar though?
Oh, I know. The fan base would be fucking pissed, but I'd be like, okay, that's totally cool with me. Like, go ahead. I think
No, dude, because if they're gonna put time and effort into other movies, I would want them to put time and effort into new shit. Like, those are old movies. Just forget about them. You know, forget about the sequels, prequels, original trilogy. The saga is done, right?
Yeah.
We don't need anything else. Let's focus on a different story in any time. It could be before, it could be after, it could be during. Just focus on something else. You know? We don't need Skywalker to keep going.
I will say, like, I mean, this is kind of like, I'll save this for the future, I guess, but like a lot of the stuff that Disney has made, that isn't like the sequel trilogy stuff. So like Rogue One and Obi-Wan and Solo, I feel like are almost not trying to retcon the prequels, but they're trying to make they're trying to bridge the gap between Episode 3 and 4 that was like super weird and felt wrong. To the point where it's almost like I'd be okay if they just fucking remade them to make it make more sense and like not be as weird. There's so much weird shit in this entire trilogy, but like I said, Episode 3, it's the best of the three easily. Because like there is cool stuff in here. Like I like that intro, that them like fighting together, and like it's the first time that there's like some sort of battle with Obi-Wan and Anakin where you're like, oh, this is like showing their characters. Like Anakin is this like headstrong guy, and Obi-Wan is like very, you know, they kind of did it at the beginning of 2 with the weird chase down of the lady, but this made more sense. It's like, yeah, they're in a battle. War happened. If you remember at the beginning of this scroll. War. The Chancellor's been kidnapped because of war, and
oh my god! All right, your Discord's not gutting that out.
And so like the Chancellor's been kidnapped. They're going to save the Chancellor. Okay, I get this. This makes sense. This isn't like some assassin hired another assassin to hire another assassin to send a robot with like some droids or whatever, and like this is like, okay, I get what's going on. I follow this movie, but there's still a lot of this movie that doesn't work for me. Specifically, like we get to the part with Padme, and you're just like, yeah, George just doesn't know how to do this. So he's just like, I'm just not gonna write her at all. she's just not gonna be in the movie, and when she is, she sucks. Like that.
Except she delivers like the best line in the whole movie towards the end. This is how liberty dies.
Oh yeah, that is
so good.
That is a great line. Good. And there are some like great lines in this movie. That being one of them. Yeah,
the whole movie is just memes now. The whole movie is just memes.
It's a pretty memeable movie.
Like in the first, I'd say 20 minutes, R2 does his R2 7 times. I counted it. And then he doesn't do it ever again throughout the whole movie. It's 7 times. So if you make that a drinking game, know it 7 times, and you're going to be blitzed for the rest of the movie, but you won't have to drink anymore because he only does it at the beginning. Where was it going with that? Also, every line, like another happy landing. Like
another happy
this landing. Is where the fun begins. Like another lightsaber added to my collection, or whatever Grievous says right there. Like super memes. And I'm sure I'm missing a few of them.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes. Yeah.
Well, that was I'm only talking about the first 20 minutes.
Oh, okay.
You know,
okay, yeah. There's
or the one where he's standing and he's like, "No, I'm far too. It'll do it." Yeah. And then I'm far too. Something for politics. You know.
Yeah.
Where he's like telling Anakin to go on ahead. It's so memes. The whole thing is memes, and it's great.
Or like, what are the like Ray thing that goes around them? What's that called? Oh shit! That scene made me laugh like so hard
Ray,
this
I think
time.
They're called Ray shields.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I think it's Grievous is like, activate the Ray shields, and then it goes around them, and Obi-Wan's like, Ray shields. It's just like, we're smarter than this. How did we end up here? It's like, what do you mean? You were just passed out a second. Shut the fuck up, Obi-Wan.
Yeah. Like you knew it was a trap, and you still like. Yeah,
I swear to God, George like made episode 1 and 2, and he had the fucking droids, right? And he's like, oh, they need a droid leader. What if there was a fucking droid that led the droid army, but like he's actually like fucking Frankenstein? And it's like, okay, George, sure. And he's just like, this will sell toys, and he was right.
He was right, dude. General Grievous is sick.
He's not explain it. This man just shows up out of fucking nowhere. Like,
so
like, where the fuck did this guy come from?
So
where was he in the last 2 movies?
So, okay. We know there's been a huge time gap because the war has been going on for a while.
3 years, I think.
So that like Anakin and Padme haven't been together in a minute, like a few months at least. They've been at war. Anakin and Obi-Wan have been in like the Outer Rim or whatever.
It couldn't have been that long, right? Because she was pregnant not showing. So it couldn't have been like that long. Maybe a month.
It could be longer than that.
But like that could also just be like the reaction after you don't see your husband for a week. You know, it could have just even been just like he was gone for a week.
Yeah, but still, like we know time has passed. The thing that I want to know is like all that in between. And I think Clone Wars, I haven't seen
That's
it,
what
but
that
I think
show is.
Clone Wars fills that whole time. Like who's Grievous? How is Grievous linked to Count Dooku? What happened there? How did the Chancellor get kidnapped? Like with the opening scrolls, like the Chancellor's been kidnapped. I'm like, show me. I want to fucking see how that happened. Like, was it like an explosion and then like they got like a whole bunch? Never referred to again.
So,
it was just like
I remember this.
He was kidnapped.
I remember this vividly, and I'm not going to judge the movie based off of these, but I remember this vividly because I'm just basing this movie off of the trilogy we got. I'm not incorporating Clone Wars or any of that shit because
Right.
that's not how movies work. But
Right.
that being said, I do remember vividly because I was the perfect age for this movie, right? Like this came out in
Yeah.
2005, I think. I was like in 5th grade, so like this was my
When did
shit.
it come out? Yeah,
I was,
2005. Yeah.
I was like fucking ready for this movie, right? Like this
Oh,
was
dude,
like,
you were Jedi. You wanted the little
oh yeah,
Padawan
I
braid and
wanted the
shit. Yeah.
fucking braid, I wanted the stupid ponytail, like I wanted it all, baby. I
Yeah.
saw new Anakin with his long hair. I never looked back, dude. I had long hair my entire life after
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
So like I was primed and ready, and Cartoon Network at the time was showing 5-minute shorts between their shows, directed by what's his name, Taranofsky, the guy who did Samurai Jack,
Okay.
and he did these 5-minute shorts, and they were like, I don't know, 30 episodes, and they were called
Right.
The Clone Wars, and
Right.
that's where
I remember
that's where
this.
we got the introduction of
General
Grievous.
Grievous. Yeah.
We got to see like Kit Fisto, like kick ass, and we got to see like a bunch of these things kind of get explored and explained. We got to see the relationship between Anakin and Palpatine, you know, because that's sort of implied in this movie. So we got to see a lot of that stuff, and now that show, it's not canon.
Is it not?
It's not canon but the Clone Wars show, like the actual like 3D animated one, that's
Yeah.
canon now.
Okay.
Because the 3D show ended up kind of retconning and changing a lot of that stuff.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that's kind of because I remember, dude. I was a Cartoon Network kid, and so like I was already in, and I was already a Star Wars kid, and those fucking shorts were my life, dude. I would stay up at night to rewatch them again because they would show them at like 4:30, and then they'd re-show them again at like 9:30 at night. I'm like, oh, I gotta watch them again, bro.
Yeah.
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 That-
No, yeah, I didn't grow up with that. So I've seen a few of them online as an adult, but I didn't have cable. So watching that was kind of hard in 2005, 2006, whenever it was showed on TV. So I didn't get that. So all I'd had was episodes 1, 2, 3, and the originals. And it was all the implications. Like this movie is so filled with implications that it's like, yeah, so it's implied that, just Count Dooku and Grievous happen to be on the same ship. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Palpatine has hired a new, like, he's figured this whole thing out, and all of the separatists are all like grouping up. Grievous just came out of nowhere because he looks cool. Like, just shit like that. Anakin turns to the dark side because love. You just kind of have to, it's all implications. We don't get to see everything that's happening because this movie also takes place over months.
Yeah.
Because we see that with Padme, it really helps with that because she starts
You
to
see
show
her
throughout
develop.
the movie.
Yeah.
So this is happening throughout months, and you start to get the connection between Palpatine and the dark side a lot in this, which is really nice because it's, for once, the Jedi aren't dumb and they're like, maybe it's the guy pulling all the strings. And it's like, yeah, maybe it is.
Right. It's like,
The
how do you
guy
not
who's,
realize?
and especially Anakin, I feel like he is the dumbest person, and he's just so blinded by friendship and love that he's just like, no, he's not that bad. And then as soon as he's like, I am the bad guy, then he's like, wait, you're the bad guy? And you're like, come on, dude. Like, literally, all of the things point to him, and every Jedi sees it, and you're still going to be on his side. That's the weakest part of the movie for me, is how Anakin decides to jump to the dark side,
So crazy, dude.
because it's literally just like, I will kill hundreds of kids and children and innocent people,
Yeah.
just to save this one person. And it's like, that is so horrible. Like, that is beyond horrible in like a flash. Like,
Right.
he's like, the Jedi are good, and they're selfless, and they help people, and I'm a Jedi and I want to be powerful and help people also, but also let's kill everybody.
Yeah.
Like
I did look at it a little differently this time around, actually, because I've always thought that as well, where he's just like quickly on board. I still think that's weird when he's just like, oh, what have I done? Anyway, I'll do whatever you want. That's kind of a weird jump for me.
see, I think that one's okay though. But you continue. I'll cover that.
That's kind of a weird jump for me, just because it's like, I mean, it's pretty obvious what Palpatine, like, he was killing himself,
Mm-hmm.
and then you watched him murder Mace, and you're just like,
Yeah.
okay, what do you want me to do? The younglings and stuff, it kind of makes me think of like Wanda, right, from the new Doctor Strange movie. Spoilers, she's the villain.
Mm-hmm.
Spoilers. And she gets the Darkhold, and the Darkhold like sort of like possesses her and shit. I feel like
Right.
the dark side kind of does that as well. The problem is it's just not really stated that that's how it works.
That's a really interesting way of looking at it. I like that. I like
Yeah,
that, and
'cause
that's my new headcanon.
yeah, and that's kind of my headcanon as I was watching it this time. I'm like, okay, and they kind of imply it, like his eyes are turning yellow and shit, and like
Mm-hmm.
he's getting absorbed by the dark side. It just would have been nice if they sort of explicitly were like, he
Right.
really is absorbed by the dark side.
Or
And
like
it's hard.
you get like you get Yoda saying like if once you like step into it, it absorbs you, or like just some
And we do get
line that
we
does
get
that.
Yoda saying like, your Padawan is no longer here. He is lost to the
Right.
dark side or whatever. But it's
Mhm.
just like, it's hard because a lot of this movie is like metaphors and stuff already.
Yeah.
So it's like, when are you being serious and when is it like a metaphor or whatever? So
Right.
I did kind of look at it a little differently this time, where I'm like, okay, he's being absorbed by the dark side. This is why he's going crazy.
I like the way that you looked at that, and that kind of changes it for me. But that moment where Palpatine's killing himself based on Mace protecting himself,
Yeah.
and then he's just like, no, I need him, and he cuts off his hand. It's like, well, now what? Like,
Yeah.
now you're either going to have to kill Palpatine and and also kill your wife because you killed Palpatine, or join him and just accept your fate as a murderer. Now, like, it's like once you killed Mace, it's like, well, what now? Like, there's nothing you can do to change what you did.
Also, why did he chop off Mace's hands and not Palpatine's hands?
I know.
It's,
I know.
So, like, what are you doing? Like,
It's like, no, like, just keep him safe. Like, yeah.
also,
then Mace has no reason to kill him
also
because he's defenseless.
that moment when Anakin like figures out that Palpatine is the Darth, he's Darth Sidious, and he's like, "Oh, you're Darth Sidious. I figured it out. I got to go tell the council," and then he just like leaves him there. Wouldn't you be like, "You're coming with me. I'm gonna put like some handcuffs on you or something, and you're gonna come with me"? Instead, he just leaves him, and
Just
then Mace is a fucking asshole.
I'll
Who's
give you time to prepare.
yeah, exactly. And then Mace is like, I don't trust you, Anakin. You stay here. And it's like, okay, either you take him with you explicitly, or you have fucking Kit Fisto or somebody stay with this kid to make sure he's not
exactly
going somewhere. Like that, the fucking Jedis are so dumb in these movies. Like it baffles me. It's like, how did you guys not know it was Sidious? How did you guys not know he was fucking Padme? Like how? What the fuck?
Like Yoda has to know, right?
Yeah, and Yoda's a fucking asshole, dude. Like Yoda, at the end of this movie, he's like, "Well, can't beat Palpatine. Guess I'll just go away."
I know.
You think like you die fighting this man?
So so there's that, but so Obi-Wan and Yoda meet up on Organa's ship, right? And they're like, all right, you go take care of Anakin, Obi-Wan. I'll go take care of Palpatine.
Because you're not strong enough to take care of Palpatine.
Why not take on Palpatine first and kill the leader, and then then go over to where Anakin is and kill Anakin? Because Obi-Wan has no idea where Anakin is at this point. And Yoda's just like, well, if you think hard enough, you'll find her. You'll find him. And he's like, okay. But you think in the meantime is like, well, we should deal with this big ass threat that's happening right now together and for sure win. And then have to deal with Anakin later.
I don't know if it would be a for sure win though, because I mean, shit, we saw Palpatine just fucking murk Kit Fisto, and
Yeah, but that's Kit Fisto, dude.
dude,
And
he's so
those other
badass. He's so badass, and he just fucking murks him. We don't see him be badass in this, but in those Clone Wars cartoons, he was like the main guy, and he was so fucking cool. He like swam underwater, dude, and he lit his lightsaber underwater, and he like swum around with his little tentacles like flying off.
Yeah, okay.
He's fucking cool, man.
We're not talking about the little shorts that you saw. We're talking about this movie, and Kit Fisto's a bitch in this movie. He literally just stands there and gets aced.
Dude, all those.
But then Windu's just like, oh, I got this, and he just takes on.
I was under the impression, sorry, just to go after your, why they didn't go together. I figured he's like, yo, Anakin's killing younglings and shit. We should definitely, we need to stop him immediately, but we also need to immediately stop Palpatine. So he's like, if you can go find Anakin, because we don't want him to kill any more fucking children. Like, yeah, I kind of get it. Go ahead, sorry.
But like, yeah, he's already done it. You know, like we need to deal with this problem together. We're the only ones. Let's stay together to survive. No, let's separate. That's a good idea.
You got to go find Anakin to keep him from killing the Viceroy, who's still fucking alive. This motherfucker. Well, not
anymore.
Newt Gunray. This man's still around.
Yeah.
What I was disappointed with the battles, right? Because it cuts between Yoda's battle with Palpatine and Obi-Wan and Anakin's battle is like it, and we get a little bit of it, but like if Yoda and Palpatine's battle was just like more force based, that would have been cool, because then it would have been like we get to see this like epic lightsaber battle, but then we get to see this epic force battle. Yeah, and like I almost wish like Palpatine didn't even pull out his saber, and they just started like doing some force stuff like to each other, and then we get this like contrast of lightsaber stuff, and then it's like this is why Obi-Wan couldn't come here, but he could go here because he's more of a saber guy, and I'm more of a
force guy. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, for sure, that would have been cool, and we do get a little bit of that, although it is kind of lame. It's kind of lame. The Yoda Sidious thing is kind of lame, and the way it ends is like, oh, okay, well,
yeah, the Dooku one is way better than this one. Yeah, this one is like so forgettable, the Palpatine Yoda fight. But it is epic in theory, where it's like, yo, Yoda's gonna fight Palpatine, like that's pretty fucking cool. You know? Yeah, but it just didn't live up to expectations, I don't think. Also, why does Palpatine have to do these little spinnies? Like, why?
Because it's different.
Why is he always spinning around?
It's a meme, dude. That's another meme. The Shooting Stars meme where he goes and he like makes that terrible sound. Yeah.
Classic.
And you also get him like flipping around a little bit when he's fighting Yoda, but all the scenes that we see close up, he's just literally just jabbing at him. It's like, okay, well, you didn't. Like, that's very like, why would you do this flip and then just go eat, you know? It's kind of dumb. The choreography in it is pretty lame, but when you're fighting a digital puppet, I guess it makes sense.
Yeah. Why was Yoda hanging out with Wookiees?
Because he has good relations with the Wookiees. That's why. That's another scene that's really interesting, because the Chancellor's like, hey, I need to appoint you to be the chairperson, to be on the council of the Jedi. And the Jedi are like, that's interesting. That's real shady. And then Anakin has like this little outburst, and nobody explains to him, like, yeah, you're here, but it's like a trial run sort of thing. Like, you're here, but we need you to do a job first. And we can't tell you that job right now. But like they make it so shitty on Anakin, where he's like, hey, yeah, you get this promotion, but you don't get a raise. He's like, what the fuck? How does that even work?
Right, you know? Because Palpatine is forcing them to add him to the council, right?
Right. Right, and that's fine. And he's upset, but nobody addresses that he's upset. They're just
Well,
like, sit the fuck down. All
it's
right, you
well,
sit
it's
the
really
fuck down.
weird because at first Anakin's like, "This is wrong. I shouldn't be part of the council," and then he becomes part of the council, and they're like, "You're not a master, though," and he's like, "Fuck, I am, you little
Yeah,
bitch," and it's like,
yeah,
you didn't even want to do this a second ago because you were telling Palpatine it's the wrong move, and now
hmm
you're like cool with it. Like
yeah.
I don't know, and you're mad about it. Like it's weird. It's
Anakin has the worst emotional anything. Like he's very explosive, and I think that's kind of he's very mood swings, and I think that kind of goes into the the whole shifting to the dark side really easily.
yeah. It's just it's frustrating. It's like George just didn't do a lot of the shit that he should have done in the first two movies.
Yeah.
Like Palpatine like whispering in Anakin's ear and stuff. Like we should have seen more of that stuff in the first two
Well,
movies.
yeah, we got that in this movie quite a bit.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting to though, is like he had to rush it all out in this one because he didn't
Yeah.
put it in the other ones. And it's like you could have put some of this stuff in the other ones. He wasn't
Yeah.
thinking ahead. And then this last one, he's like, oh shit, well, we really got to rush him into Darth Vader now. And
Yeah.
also, we've barely shown him and Obi-Wan being friends. So we got to do that
Mhm.
here too.
Yeah.
And it's just like a lot of this shit could have been stretched out into the other movies. And this one could have been like, okay, yeah, Anakin is really starting to dip. But Anakin is so fucking bipolar in this movie that it just becomes confusing at a certain point.
Yeah.
I mean, like if I were making the prequels, dude, I would have done them completely differently. Where it would have been like Anakin and Padme had like a one night stand, and like Padme had his kids and he didn't know about it, and like Obi-Wan and Anakin are like good friends going on missions together and shit, and like his last name Anakin's isn't even Skywalker. He's just Anakin fucking whatever, and then the Owen would be Owen Skywalker, and he's just like a friend of Obi-Wan's or something. Like I would have done this all fucking differently if it were me, but this is what
But
we got. This is what we got.
That's exactly every Star Wars fan has
Yeah,
their own way of telling each
but
part of the story.
and that's I think more justified when your movie's a prequel to pre-existing movies that have been around forever. So of course people create their own headcanons.
Right.
And yeah, but like that being said, like with what we got in this version, I see what George is going for. He just did a bad job of it, man. He did a bad fucking job of what he was going for.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it was still good. I still enjoyed the hell out of this movie.
This one is the
Um,
most enjoyable one. I can rewatch this one and be like, okay, I feel like you don't even need to watch the other two. You could just watch this one and get what's going on.
Kinda. Yeah. Yeah, because the other two kind of sets up the separatists, and that's about it.
Well,
But this one's just kind of like there's clones, they're at war. The separatists
it's
are
like first
who
one is
knows what they
like
are.
how Anakin became Jedi. Second one is how Anakin met Padme, and then this one is how, or like kind of. So first one is how he got found and became a Jedi
Right.
trainee. Second one is
Right.
him going from trainee to knight, and this one is going from knight to master or whatever. But like
Right.
it, if that's all it was, that would have been way better. I think you need the political intrigue of like Palpatine is trying
Oh,
to take over.
absolutely.
I think that stuff is cool, but like
hmm
it was done so poorly, man.
It was
And
done
like
so poorly. Like
rewatching them again, I'm just like, man, so much of this makes no sense.
the political espionage of these movies is really interesting. It's really interesting. It's very different, very well lured out, I guess. Like it's not obvious on screen, but when you think about all of the pieces that have to go together in your head, you're like, shit, there's a lot going on right now. And like Palpatine is a very charismatic person in order to influence all of these people just by talking to them.
But like it's so obvious. And that's what's so upsetting is like it would have been so much better if in this movie Anakin's just like, "Hey, Padme, let's not hide anymore. The Jedi are wrong." Right? The Jedi are wrong, and like we get to see, cuz the Jedi are wrong so much, but like George doesn't want to fully admit that they're wrong. It almost feels like.
Right.
And
No, yeah, that movie does a lot of that, where it's just it keeps its distance from saying anything too concrete.
yeah, and it would have been nice if it was just like Anakin was like, yeah, the Jedi are wrong for not letting me be with the person I love and having children, so I'm leaving. And that's when fucking Uncle Palpatine comes up and is like, hey, we don't do that over here. And you're like, Palpatine's right. Like, that's a stupid rule.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, you know,
then,
like, that would be more intriguing.
You realize that he's actually like a Hitler type, and you're like, oh shit,
Yeah.
maybe,
well,
maybe not.
That's the funniest shit too to me is like at the end when Padme's like, you're not yourself. When Anakin's like, we can rule together, we can rule this empire together, we can take down Palpatine. She's like, you're not yourself. And it's like, I kind of remember in the last movie him saying exactly that to you.
Yeah.
It's like he's been unhinged this whole fucking time.
The whole time. Ever since you met him. Well, maybe not ever since you met him, but ever since like you met him again. You know?
Yeah. And I really like that scene between him and her until she's like, you're breaking my heart. And it's like, George, why? This could have been a great scene.
It's a breakup, dude. That's all it is. It's a like you realize somebody isn't who they are.
And that's
not
shitty.
Who you remembered him to be. But honestly, he was a very shitty boyfriend or husband. And you're like, well, you know, I've spent this much time with you. I still love you, but also like it hurts. It's a shitty breakup.
That's the shitty part about Padme in this movie, though, is all she is a vessel for Leia and Luke, and to be Anakin's like wife or whatever. She is not a character in this movie, and it's annoying because it's like, dude, she's a senator, and she's supposed to be like the influence, like for Leia, and like sort of sassy and shit. And in this movie, she's just like, no, I'm just getting taken care of by C-3PO, and terrible stuff.
I like this movie. It's fun. It's not good, but it's fun. Let's get. You want to? Oh, well, you're the host. I don't want to take over the show.
I do like one last thing. I do like at the beginning of the movie when they find Palpatine, they just walk up to him. Like they don't even like say, "Hey, we're here to say." They just slowly walk up to him, say nothing, and then Palpatine goes, "Dooku," and then they're like, "Oh shit."
Oh, yeah. Like that wasn't like his whole chair thing. I like that. The visuals in this are
the
really
visuals
good.
Cool, where it's like, oh, he's the bad guy. But it would have been nice if they were like, "Hey, are you safe? Should we approach?" Like anything. They're just like, let's just slowly up to him, and then they're like, and then he's like, Dooku. But I do like that fight at the beginning.
Yeah,
with Dooku.
And like the moment he says, "Do it," is like the moment that you're like, if I was Anakin, I wouldn't. I'd be like, no, excuse me. No, that's not how this works.
I kind of get it though, because he's like, we gotta fucking get this guy. First of all, we gotta save the Chancellor. I gotta save Obi-Wan. We can't really do anything about him without leaving him here, and then he'll still be a threat.
Hands. He has no hands.
Well, I mean, robot technology is obviously pretty fucking good, because also
Very
Anakin doesn't have
Very
hands.
true. Good. Yeah, because
or arms or legs.
Right. Right. So I imagine if they blew up, like the ship blew up a little earlier, then it's like, well, shit, now I got to kill this guy because I don't want him to get away. Like that would be more reason to, like, I can't carry him.
Well, that's kind of where I was coming from. Like, I thought in my head, it's like, well, he has to kill him, otherwise he'll get away. And then, because he can't take the Chancellor and Obi-Wan and
Dooku,
and Dooku as a prisoner, and like, and then also run into fucking, Grievous out there and shit. And
yeah.
Anyway, yeah, you want to do some fun facts?
Yeah, let's do some fun facts.
Uh, Here we go. Just to keep on track with that Dooku battle. Uh, by the way, I do like it when like Dooku like kind of looks over at Palpatine like, why are you telling him to do it? Like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
I like
Like,
that.
fuck you, man.
Also, I like that they killed him at the beginning of the movie. Like, that's a nice twist. Like,
Yeah.
it kind of reminded me of like when they killed Snoke in Episode 8.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like,
It's
oh
just
shit,
kind of a shock.
yeah, I was like, oh shit, I wasn't expecting that. Like, yeah, I
Mhm.
like that. Because you would have expected Count Dooku to be like the big guy at the end, but no.
No. Not even Grievous was the big guy at the end.
No.
There were two bad guys
Yeah, Obi-Wan
before
just
the bad guy.
Obi-Wan just fucking murks Grievous like a little bit earlier,
Yep.
right before Order 66 happens.
Yep.
In the battle duel scene with Count Dooku, the imprisoned Palpatine originally had more dialogue, which he was to shout at Anakin. One of his lines pertained to Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, in which Palpatine exposed Dooku as paying the Tusken Raiders to kidnap, torture, and kill Shmi Skywalker, which would make more sense on why
He would kill him.
and why Palpatine says you did it for revenge, because he says that and you're like, I mean, he cut his hand off, I guess, but like,
yeah,
but that makes more sense.
That is true. This one also goes along with that. The original cut of this movie ran nearly 4 hours. I would like to see that. The opening battle, Palpatine rescue, alone ran over an hour. The extra footage of Palpatine rescue scene is shown in the video game for this movie. So yeah, it was an hour fight scene, like scene extended. So it makes sense that there were extra lines thrown in there. But you can't have a 4-hour movie. Well, I guess now you could. They could remaster it and re-release it, and but maybe it would be better if it did run for 4 hours. But then we get Justice League. That doesn't.
I still want to see it though. Like, yeah, give us the theatrical cut and the long one. Like, I just kind of want to see it, just
to see it, for more Star Wars.
Originally, a young Han Solo was going to make an appearance in the film, living among the Wookiees on Kashyyyk. I don't like how Chewbacca is like a main guy. He's
hardly a main guy, dude. They had to put him in there,
for fan service, because like Yoda's like, goodbye, my friend Chewbacca, and it's like, I don't know. I couldn't imagine, like, I felt like Chewbacca wasn't that kind of guy. I couldn't imagine Chewbacca being like a general. He's like a fucking...
Well, I mean, his whole planet got taken over.
Sure.
Right after this, Order 66 kind of took out his whole planet. They became slaves.
I just don't know why...
you change who you are based on...
Sure. I just don't know why everyone from the original trilogy... Like, I said this about Yoda in the last episode. It's like, Yoda didn't have to be the main guy. He could have just been like a librarian. Chewbacca doesn't need to be the fucking general. You know what I mean? And Nick is frozen. We lost Nick.
What the fuck? Wow.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah. No, wow. Yeah, that was real bad. That was a real bad freeze on my part. Anyway, what were you saying? He was the main guy.
Yeah.
That's all I heard, and then it froze on me.
Yoda didn't have to be like a main dude.
No, you're right.
And Chewbacca didn't either. It would have been enough just to see the Wookiees and maybe like a brief cameo of Chewbacca being like I got a gun, and then like Yoda being like,
I got a gun.
Yeah, like I need, or like fucking Yoda like loses his lightsaber or something, and some young recruit fucking guy, and he's like,
I see what you're saying.
Thank you, Chewbacca. Like as like a side, he didn't need to be like up there with the generals.
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
he could have been a warrior, but I just don't. Why would he be like one of the leaders? Like, it's weird.
Because everybody in the Skywalker saga needs to be somebody.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the Wookiees, the Wookiee costumes from this film sport a new arterial system that pumped ice cold water to help cool down the actor wearing the suit.
Wow, that would be nice.
Yeah. That is another thing with this movie is like, first of all, I think the CG in this movie is the worst out of any of them. I don't know what it is.
No, not at all. Not at all. You are smoking crack, dude.
Okay.
The CG in this movie is top notch.
Okay.
compared to the first two.
But that being said, like we do get the moments where there's the Wookiees and it's like, oh, it's practical. Like that looks nice. And then there's a
Yeah.
scene where like Jimmy Smits are like in this and Obi-Wan are like in that ship together. And
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
practical set. And you're like, damn, that looks nice. Like it would have been nice if they had more shit like that in this movies.
Yeah, I mean the clones look really bad. That's
Yeah,
pretty much the worst of it, I
they do.
think, is the clones because they don't like it's all jittery and they don't quite make sense. They look out of place, they look green screened. But compared to like the Gungan battle with the droids, it looks 10 times better. Compared to like when they first go into, Coruscant and you see the background and it's literally just blobs of buildings, so much better. Night and day, I would even say. Um, it is, yeah. The CG in this is much better, in my opinion. Um,
Yeah, I think
there are some wonky things like Tarkin, not Tarkin, what Admiral, yeah, Admiral Tarkin
yeah, he's at
is
the
like
end.
in it, and it's like
Yeah.
I don't like that, you know. But you get over it because it's an old movie, and it's
Did we need Vader going, no? Did we need that?
we sure didn't.
It
We
wouldn't
sure
it have
that
been
was.
better if he just like destroyed this stuff around him?
I think in the original he just did that. He didn't have the no
Yeah.
because we get that same no when he throws Palpatine over the edge
Yeah.
in Episode 6. So it's weird. It is weird. I got a couple here.
I got a few
Speaking of
too.
Darth Vader, George Lucas deliberately made the Darth Vader suit top heavy, for instance, adding weight on the helmet to make Hayden Christensen not appear too accustomed to it in the movie. So they like put the helmet on and he went, whoa, all right. So that's kind of cool.
Um in the opening sequence, when the second separatist ship is destroyed, a piece of debris flies into the Clone Star destroyer that shot it. That piece of debris is a kitchen sink. It was put
Oh,
in there by ILM as a joke from someone saying, "We're throwing everything in the sequence but the kitchen sink."
but now it includes the kitchen
And
sink.
I don't know if you noticed in Obi-Wan, we got a kitchen sink in that like opening thing where it like shows the stormtrooper head and then the Vader head and then a kitchen sink
No
and then
way.
yeah.
I did not see that. That's hilarious.
um Yeah. One of the early concepts for General Grievous was a small child sitting on a floating chair, guarded by two IG-88 droids from Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. George Lucas rejected this look as a child would not be taken seriously as the deadliest hand fighter the galaxy has seen, which is how he wanted Grievous to be portrayed. Instead, part of the final look for General Grievous' face was inspired by the shape of a bathroom detergent spray nozzle.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. There's one. Chancellor Palpatine's strategy for maintaining power is known to political scientists and is called perpetual war. He comes to power through conflict with a trade federation, gains greater privileges through the Clone War, and solidifies his position through the war on the Jedi. Yeah, that's kind of the images of the volcano eruption on Mustafar is real footage of Mount Etna in Italy, which was erupting at the time of production.
That's
Pretty
cool.
sweet. Pretty sweet.
The script and the action figures identify Anakin and Obi-Wan as using the call signs Red 5 and Red Leader, respectively, during the opening battle. Red 5 was also the call sign for Luke Skywalker during the Death Star battle in Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. Red Leader was the call sign for Wedge Antilles during the Death Star battle in Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. Wedge was played by Ewan McGregor's uncle, Dennis Lawson.
That's kind of cool.
That's a fun fact.
Um, Liam Neeson has said that he recorded a cameo as Qui-Gon Jinn, which was to feature a scene with Yoda, further explaining the concept of Jedi communicating from beyond the grave. In the script, the dialogue in which Qui-Gon is heard, not seen, appears in the scene in which Yoda is meditating on a secret asteroid base just before Bail Organa informs him of Obi-Wan's return with Padme. The scene does not appear in deleted scenes section of the DVD. However, an unfinished version was included in the Blu-ray release box set. I know just the scene. He's like sitting there, and Bail Organa comes up on the asteroid, and he's like, "We Obi-Wan has reached out." Like that's the scene. But that's kind of cool because
That is cool.
Qui-Gon Jinn is part of the movie as like inferenced to how Force Ghosts happened. Like
Yeah.
that's what makes Qui-Gon so cool is that he's like the first one.
Oh, we're getting him in Obi-Wan. We'll see. We haven't.
So I either want. Okay, well, this is different. We're gonna talk about that later.
Okay.
We're gonna talk about it later. I'm not. We won't. We
Yeah,
won't
this
bring
will
up anything.
that will date this video if we do that. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So that's fine. Yeah.
For some shots during the birth scene, the infant Luke and Leia are portrayed by an animatronic puppet. As this puppet was operated by Ewan McGregor, the cast jokingly referred to it as Foamy Wan Kenobi.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen trained for 2 months in fencing and fitness in preparation for the epic battle. As a result of their practice, the speed at which Kenobi and Vader engage the duel in the completed movie is the speed in which it was filmed and not digitally accelerated. Yeah, I heard about that where they just went for it for hours a day, just training on how fast it is. So that's a really cool. That fight scene is probably one of the best fight scenes in, I'm going to say, all of Star Wars.
The only thing I don't like about that scene is that, like, why does Obi-Wan just fucking let him burn to death like that? Like that's
you think he'd put him out of his misery or something
so
like that?
My thought is like, wouldn't it have been better if like he does the little flippy and Obi-Wan's still standing on that platform and he cuts his leg off and then Anakin like lands on the platform and the platform is like slowly drifting away.
Mm-hmm.
So then Obi-Wan can't get to him at least.
And a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, and we could still have the moment of him being like, "You were supposed to save us, not destroy us," and then you also get the moment where like Obi-Wan's kind of sad that he's letting his friend die because he can't really save him either. But
he doesn't want to kill him because it's so hard to kill your friend. But he's
yeah,
like,
so instead I'll let him suffer
instead. Yeah,
yeah, which will come into play maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
All shots of C-3PO had the entire green screen set reflecting in his shiny gold armor. So digital effects artists in post-production had to digitally repaint C-3PO's armor frame by frame to remove any traces of the set.
Dude, I would kill myself if I was that. If I had to work on that.
There's no way. No shot.
That would be so monotonous. Just keyframe, paint over this, and like fucking keyframe, paint over this. Like, fuck, dude. That would be so monotonous. Oh, man.
General Grievous's breathing problems in this film, as well as his exposed gut sack, are caused by his brief encounter with Mace Windu in Star Wars Clone Wars 2003. Mace Windu force-gripped Grievous as the general was making off with Palpatine, crushing the cyborg's chest panel. However, in Star Wars The Clone Wars 2008, Grievous is seen to have always had breathing problems prior to this, which is why I was saying earlier, those original shorts are no longer canon because they changed stuff in the 3D Clone Wars.
I like that idea of having Mace Windu crush him as he's getting away.
Dude, I'm telling you, those shorts were so fucking kick-ass, dude. They really were like one of the big reasons why I love Star Wars so much. They're so cool. I think they're on Disney Plus now, too. You should go watch them. They're fucking sick.
This is kind of cool.
Might be wrong about that. I
don't know. They might be. According to Ahmed Best, there was a deleted scene where, before he crowned himself emperor, Palpatine mockingly thanked Jar Jar Binks for granting him the emergency powers that allowed him to take over the galaxy. That would be great. That would have been hilarious.
You know that scene where they're like, "This is how Liberty dies" and stuff or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Why was everyone clapping? Why was everyone? That just seems like, that seems bad. Like if I was in the Senate, I'd be like, they're
sick of the war, dude. All of their what do you call it? All of their numbers, their acceptance numbers,
Yeah.
their rating in their systems were bad. So they're like, yeah, we need to end this war so that our ratings go back up. You know?
Yeah, maybe.
So
Uh,
uh,
Gary Oldman had agreed to be the voice of General Grievous, but pulled out of the film because it was being made using actors who are not part of the Screen Actors Guild, of which Oldman is a member. The role was read by Duncan Young on set and finally voiced by Matthew Wood, who, being a Lucasfilm employee, submitted his reading under the name Alan Smithy. That would have been weird if Gary Oldman was the guy.
yeah, that would have been.
Going from The Fifth Element to Star Wars. How about that?
Why not? That's
Yeah.
kind of interesting though. This says Easter egg on the DVD in the options menu. If you press 11, enter, 3, enter, 8, enter, Yoda will dance to hip hop music. So if you own the DVD and a DVD player and a remote that has all of those things, try it out. Um,
Um, the opening
there,
shot of the film lasts 76 seconds after the disappearance of the opening crawl. That is the longest of any Star Wars film. There you go. That's a fact that everyone needed to know. That's an
yeah,
important fact.
sure.
Yeah,
Total number of screen wipes 40,
wow.
which the screen wipes in the prequels are fantastic. There are so many just like
They're a
or
little
like the
over the top.
square. There's like squares that just
Yeah,
turn the screen black. I'm
a
like,
little
what?
over the top.
Whose idea?
Well,
Who
because
just
they
went
did it
into
in the
like
original
Windows?
trilogy, and
Whose idea was like Windows Movie Maker? Let's just add a whole bunch of
yeah.
just expanding black. There's a star wipe for you. You know, like great, cool.
All right, last one I got.
Okay.
A process of applying chrome to rubber was developed during production, allowing lightsaber hilts to be made of rubber and used in stunts without hurting the actors. That's a cool one.
Nice. Good for them.
Yeah,
Good
there's a
for them.
lot of fun facts about Star Wars. Like, there's so many. We could do this all fucking day, actually.
Yeah.
Compared
So
to the
let's
Marvel
not.
ones, like these ones are fucking nuts.
Well, yeah. They've also been around a lot longer than the Marvel ones. So.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, the oldest Marvel one was Iron Man, and that was
2008.
in 2008. This still predates it by 3 years.
3 years. It's
So,
pretty wild to think that Iron Man came out only 3 years after this, though.
it's yeah, I guess. What's funny about
Iron Man looks so
Man?
much better than this movie.
Yeah, but what's funny about Iron Man, not to go too far on a tangent, but like the newer Iron Man suits look awful. So much worse than the first one, like
Yeah.
digitally animated. Like
The first
when
one was
Hulk's in the
practical.
Hulk,
Yeah.
when the Hulk's in the Hulkbuster, you're like, ooh,
Yeah.
okay. But then the
Yeah.
first Iron Man, you're like, that looks fucking good.
Yeah.
You know? So
All right,
anyway,
let's pull up our ranking list here. Here it is.
here it is.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe I can make this bigger.
Maybe.
Boom, 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 boom. There you go. There it is. Lonercast live action Star Wars rankings list. Number 1, Episode 1, Phantom Menace. At number 2, Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Nick, where should we put Star Wars Episode 3?
I think it deserves to be last.
Wow.
No, I'm just kidding. It's obviously the best one of the 3.
Yep, agreed.
So that's where it goes. If you think otherwise, please let us know.
I can't imagine like a lot of people feel like it's not, you know?
Right. Yeah, I don't. If you do, I want to hear from you. If you think it's better or worse than the other 2, I want to hear from you and why you think that. Please go into the comments and tell me why, because I would super love to hear it. Just to have a conversation, not to laugh at you or anything, because my opinions on Star Wars change so much over the years. It's constantly moving. So I'm open, and maybe you can persuade me to move it. from better to worse.
I want to meet the
So
person who their favorite Star Wars movie is Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones. Like, who
that
is
too.
that person?
Who is that
They
person?
have to exist.
Please, please. You don't even have to like publicly do it. Just privately DM us
Yeah.
on like Twitter or on the YouTube or even Twitch. I don't care. Privately, and we'll
Yeah.
get in contact. We'll send you a free shirt or something.
Yeah. I will buy you a shirt that says Star Wars Episode 2
No,
Attack of the
it'll
Clones.
say Lonercast. We'll have
Yeah.
it embroidered. It'll say Lonercast or Spoilercast, whatever you want, and it'll
Yeah.
have a little astronaut on.
Well,
I guarantee it.
we will see you next week for Obi-Wan Kenobi. We're going to be doing that one, and then we're going to, I don't know, we'll go from there. We'll figure it out. Anyway,
yeah, it gets kind of messy.
yeah,
The
'cause
next couple of weeks.
Thor Love and Thunder is coming out, and yeah, that gets weird. And then the Miss Marvel, we got to do that, and but we'll get back to Star Wars. Star Wars is there. We love it. It'll be around, and
it'll be around, and we'll do this many, many times because Star Wars is my favorite. So
yeah, we'll finish the series.
yeah,
I'm sure
for sure, easily.
Yeah.
All right, bye everybody.
Mothers, Shmi.